Hello, I'm Chris of Chrissy's Over the Mountain Crochet and Crafts, and today we'll be making the Brook tee using this Caron Cotton Cakes. You can use Caron Cotton Ripple Cakes if you desire. This is a 4-weight, 60% cotton, 40% acrylic, 530 yards or 485 meters to this cake, and the color I'm using is driftwood. You can also use cotton ripple cakes. I recommend a cotton blend of yarn. I recommend that because your neckline is going to be just a little bit tight when you first start making this design. It will seem like, oh no, this isn't going to work, but cotton drags and opens up, and I wanted this to have a high neckline. If you're not happy with that, you can go up one size or go up one hook size. It's up to you. The various sizes are on a ad-free PDF that can be purchased in my Ravelry or my Etsy store. You can do a search of Brook tee, and you will find the links to my Etsy and Ravelry store in my bio. So let's get started, but first let me tell you that I'm using a Susan Bates H crochet hook. So to get started, we need to chain 81. So let's make a slip knot. I make a slip knot by going around my finger, pushing through the loop, and then putting that on my hook, and then chain 81. I am making the small medium size Brook tee. So chain 81. That's 10. I'll go off camera and come back and meet you. So I have my 81 chains. This needs to be joined into a ring. Keep it from twisting, making sure there is no twist. And when I get to the end, I then go underneath and turn that last chain toward my hook and insert my hook. Now I grab that yarn tail underneath with my fingers that has the hook from the hook hand, and then I let go of everything, and you can see I am getting ready to join with a slip stitch. There we go. I've joined with a slip stitch. Now the first stitch is chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet in this joining stitch. Let me get everything straightened up. Getting started is sometimes the biggest job. This is my joining stitch, so I'm going to single crochet right in this joining stitch. Now chain 3 and skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and single crochet in the next chain. So skip 1, 2, and single crochet. Now it's skip 2 chains and shell in the next chain, 1, 2, and a shell is 5 double crochets in the next chain. Let me get those 5 double crochets made for you. And there we have our first sequence. We have a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and a shell. Now this is where the repeat sequence starts, and the repeat sequence is skip 2, 1, 2, single crochet in the next chain, chain 3, skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and single crochet, skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and a shell. So that is the sequence. This was the beginning sequence, which was single crochet in the joining stitch, chain 3, skip 2 chains, single crochet, skip 2 chains, and a shell. Now the sequence is skip 2 chains, single crochet, chain 3, skip 2 chains, single crochet, skip 2 chains, and a shell. And you execute that all the way around, and when we get to the end, I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of the round. This round, remember, was started with a single crochet in the joining stitch, chain 3, single crochet in that third chain, skip 2, and a shell. Skip 2, single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, single crochet, skip 2, shell, all the way around. The last stitch was a shell, and now I need to join to the top of that single crochet right there. Let me do that. And we have finished round 1. Let's move on to round 2. Round 2 is called a shells with ears round. And I'll explain that to you as I make the shells with ears. But the first step we do is the first step is to slip stitch into this chain 3 space, chain 1, single crochet in that chain 3 space, and then remember this shell, we're going to double crochet in the first 2 double crochets of that previous shell. Now we're going to chain 3, and I call this chain 3 an ear because it kind of sticks up like a little ear. Chain 3 and double crochet in these last 2 double crochets. And there we have our first shell with ears. All right, now it's simple. Single crochet in the chain 3 space and a shell with ears in the next shell. So double crochet in the first 2 double crochets, chain 3, single crochet in that third double crochet or the peak of that shell, chain 3, and double crochet in the last 2 double crochets of the shell. Repeat that all the way around. So we have this sequence started. We started with a slip stitch into the chain 3 space, chained 1, and single crochet. Then 2 double crochets in the first 2 double crochets of the previous shell, chain 3, single crochet in the peak stitch of the shell, chain 3, and 2 double crochets in the next 2 double crochets of the previous shell, then single crochet in the chain 3 space, then the shell with ears. Let's complete that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. At the end of round 2. My last stitch sequence was a shell with ears, and I need to join with a slip stitch to this beginning single crochet. Now round 3 is a repeat of round 1, which was a shell round. With the exception that there will be a chain 1 before and after each shell. So let's get started. We need to make a beginning shell because each shell from here on out will be based on top of a single crochet. So a beginning shell is chain 3 and 4 double crochets in this joining stitch, which is a single crochet. Now it's chain 1 and single crochet in this chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space. Let's take a look at that. We have a beginning shell, a chain 1, a single crochet in the chain 3 spaces with a chain 3 in between those single crochets. All right, now we're heading into a shell, which will be executed in this single crochet, but we need to chain 1 and execute a shell. This is where the repeat starts. We repeat this sequence all the way around. A shell, a chain in front of, and a chain on both sides of the shell. Now we execute the single crochet, chain 3, and we'll put the single crochet in this next chain 3 spot. And you guessed it, chain 1, shell, chain 1, single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 3, single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 1, and a shell, and execute that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I'm at the end of round 3. The lace is starting to show up and look beautiful. It will start being more pronounced as we go around and make the rest of the neckline. So I need to chain 1 and join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 3. And that's the end of round 3. Now we need to move on to round 4. Round 4 is the shells with ears round with a chain 1 before and after each shells with ears. So let's make a beginning shells with ears. So a beginning shells with ears is chain 3. That's the first double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 3, single crochet in that 3rd double crochet of that previous previous shell, chain 3, that was 4, and double crochet in the next 2 double crochets, chain 1, and single crochet in that chain 3 space. Just go right underneath it. Chain 1, skip all of this, and double crochet in the first double crochet of the next shell, double crochet in the second double crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, and 2 single crochets. 2 double crochets. Oh, we have a yarn change. We have a color change. So excited about that. Chain 1 and single crochet in the chain 3 space. So you get the idea of this. Repeat. It's a shells with ears, chain 1, single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 1, shells with ears, chain 1, single crochet. Repeat that all the way around and I'll meet you. We are at the end of round 4, and all I need to do now is chain 1 and join into the 3rd chain of the beginning, chain 3. In that 3rd chain, I need to tighten that down. There we go. That loop was just a little bit big. All right, now we need to walk our yarn and our hook to this chain 3 space. So the beginning of round 5 is slip stitch in that first double crochet, slip stitch into the chain 3 space, chain 1, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the next chain 3 space, just as before. Now we are going to execute 2 chains before the next shell. The shell will go in this single crochet, but we're going to add 2 chains before and after each shell. All right.
So we have a chain 4,
Single crochet, chain 2, shell, now chain 2. And we have these 2 chain 3 spaces, and we execute a single crochet,
chain 4,
single crochet, chain 2, and a shell. In the single crochet, we're skipping all of these stitches, chain 2, and a single crochet,
chain 4,
single crochet. Execute that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. We are at the end of round 5. Round 5 was the shell round with the chain 2 space before and after each shell. So I have chained 2. This is my last chain 2, and I join with a slip stitch to that beginning single crochet. And that's the end of round 5. Now heading into round 6, I need to slip stitch
into this chain 4 space,
chain 1, and single crochet
in this chain 4 space.
Now there will be, this is a shell with ears round, but there will be 2 chains before and after each shell with ears. So let's execute our chain 2 and start the shell with ears, which is a double crochet in the first double crochet in the second double crochet, chain 3, single crochet in that peak stitch of the shell, 1, 2, 3, double crochet, chain 2, and single crochet
in that chain 4 space.
So there we have another round of shell with ears. We'll be moving out of this lace, Overbrook lace sequence soon and moving on to other things. Moving on to the yoke, we will make this rounded neckline into a squared off yoke. And I'll show you how to do that here in the next few rounds. But let's finish round 6. Round 6 is shell with ears, chain 2,
single crochet in the chain 4,
chain 2, shell with ears, skipping all those stitches in between. Let's get to the end of the round and I'll discuss with you round. We are at the end of round 6. I have already executed my last chain 2 and I need to join to the top of this single crochet. All right, now we begin round 7. Round 7 will be a shell round with chain 3s before and after the shells, and then there will be a chain 4
between the 2 single crochets that are on top of the shells with ears. So there is a single crochet in that chain 3 space, chain 4, and single crochet. Let's move on.
So let me make a beginning shell, 1, 2, 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then 4 double crochets in this single crochet, which makes the beginning shell. So that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Now chain 2, 3, chain 3, single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 4, single crochet in this chain 3 space, chain 3, and shell in the single crochet. Chain 3. That shell looked a little. Chain 3, skipping all of these stitches and a single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 4, single crochet in the chain 3 space, chain 3, and then shell, then chain 3, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet. I'll meet you at the end of the round and then we'll move on to round 8. We are at the end of round 7. I've chained 3, and now I'm going to join in the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 3. Now we're going to execute a sequence of chain 4 round. So we chain 1 and single crochet in the joining stitch and place a marker in that first stitch because it is easy to lose. All right, we chain 4 and single crochet in the last stitch of the shell, chain 4, single crochet in the next single crochet, chain 4, and single crochet in this next single crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the first double crochet of that shell, chain 4, and single crochet in the last double crochet of the next shell. So then the sequence is chain 4, single crochet in this single crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the last single crochet. There we go. All right, so that's how this sequence works. Single crochet in the joining stitch, chain 4, single crochet in the last double crochet of that shell, chain 4, single crochet in the single crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the single crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the first shell of the double crochet, chain 4, single crochet in the last, and then on around. Let me finish that round. I'll meet you. I'm at the end of round 8. There should be 36 chain 4 arches. I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the beginning, single crochet. Now I need to make a beginning cluster V. A beginning cluster V is chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. Yarn over, insert hook into the single crochet, pull up a loop. You have 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. You have 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now chain 2, and now we're going to make a double crochet cluster. If you are not familiar with a double crochet cluster, it is yarn over, insert hook into this single crochet, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Leave those loops on the hook, yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Now chain 2. Now there will be a chain 2 directly after this double crochet cluster. Now let's start by working on the shoulder portion of the yoke. So the shoulder portion of the yoke is the beginning cluster. Now we will execute 3 double crochets under this chain 4. A double crochet in this single crochet, two double crochets in this chain space, and a double crochet in this single crochet, and that is the repeat. We execute this repeat 3 times. 3 double crochets in the chain 4 arch, a double crochet in the single crochet, 2 double crochets in the chain 4 arch, a double crochet in the single crochet, execute that 3 times, and when I'm finished with that, I'll meet you and we'll move on to the front of the yoke. So I've executed this repeat 3 times, and the repeat is 3 double crochets, double crochet in the single crochet, 2 double crochets in the arch, and a double crochet in the single crochet. I've executed that 3 times. Now this last little bit is 3 double crochets under the next chain 4 arch, and we should have 24 double crochets. Let's stop and count. That was 20, and we have 4 more, so we are good to go. Now I need to execute a chain 2, and now we will execute a cluster V right here in this single crochet. Yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Leave those loops on the hook, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Leave those loops on the hook, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3, and there's a double crochet cluster. Now chain 2 and execute another cluster in that exact same stitch. Four loops on the hook. It's as if you're making 3 double crochets, but you just forget to make that last yarn over and pull through 2. Now there's a chain 2, 1, 2. Remember, each sequence where you have a cluster, there is a chain 2 before and a chain 2 afterward. Now we're working across the front. Let me say something about the front of this bodice. The front of the bodice, you can add increases here. If you have a very full bust, you may want more ease in this area. If you want more ease, you can add as many double crochets in these arches as you would like. If you have an average size bust for the small medium, then just execute the pattern the way I'm going to show you. This is just across the front. Now, if you want more ease, add more double crochets, but remember to put a marker on the front so you remember where the marker is, because you do not need the same amount of stitches in the back as you do in the front. The back doesn't have a bust, but the front does, and you may want more ease. That's totally up to you. You can add 4, you can execute 4 double crochets in each chain 4 arch. You can add 3. You could add 2 and 1. Maybe you are smaller chested, but you are medium in the shoulders and in the waist. All right, so let's move on to the front. The front repeat is exactly the same as the shoulder was, except for there are 5 repeats. So we start with 3 double crochets, under the chain 4, double crochet, 2 double crochets, under the chain 4, and a double crochet. And that is the repeat. We execute this repeat 5 times across. You can put a marker in each repeat, that way you can keep track. And when you are at the end of this repeat, I'll show you what is next. So repeat this sequence 5 times, and then I'll come back and join you. So I have finished the repeats across the front. This will be the corner at the underarm, the corner of the yoke. This will be the right underarm. We've executed the sequence across the front. We have 3 more double crochets to put in this chain 4 arch, but we repeated this little sequence, this sequence of stitches 5 times. Now we need to execute 3 double crochets, and I want to stop and count the stitches real quick. I need 38 stitches. And we have 38 stitches. I'm so thankful. Sometimes you can get off there, but I didn't. And we have 38 stitches. So chain 2 and cluster V right here in this single crochet. And let me do that quickly. I've executed that cluster V. Now I need to chain 2. And we're working now on shoulder 2, but here we have the start of corners. This front will straighten out and not be so rounded as we add more rounds. But now we are moving on to the second shoulder. And the second shoulder repeat is 3 double crochets, just as before. 3 double crochets, double crochet in the single crochet, 2 double crochets in the next chain 4, and a double crochet in the single crochet. So here is our repeat sequence, and we repeat this sequence 3 times. All right, let me do that 3 times and I'll meet you and we'll move on to the back. All right, this corner is the front left armpit corner, so we've worked across the shoulder, the 3 repeats. Now we need to execute. I missed this double crochet, excuse me. Let me get this double crochet in here. Now we need to execute 3 double crochets and chain 2 and execute a double crochet cluster in this single crochet. Okay, we have that double crochet cluster, chain 2, and now we're moving on to the back. And the back will be pretty simple. Here's the back underarm corner on the right and the back underarm corner on the left. And now we're going across the back. The exact same repeat of 3 double crochets, a double crochet in the single crochet, 2 double crochets, and a double crochet in that single crochet. We repeat that 5 times. Then we come to this last chain 3 space, execute 3 double crochets and a chain 2. Let me work across and get to these 3 double crochets and I'll come back on camera. So I've executed that repeat from this cluster over for 5 repeats. Now I need to execute 3 more double crochets. That will make me 38 stitches across the back. And then I will join into the 3rd chain of this beginning cluster V. Now after I make these 3 double crochets, I need to chain 2. Because remember, there's a chain 2 before and after each cluster V. Join in that 3rd chain. There we go. And we are all the way around. We have a yoke that has corners, has 4 corners. These are the shoulders, the shorter edge, the short sides. There's 2 short sides. Those are the shoulders, and there's a front and a back. And remember, if you added extra stitches across the front, put a marker so that you remember that's the front. Now let's move on. This is exciting. We get to move on. Now here is a size adjustment tip. The clusters are considered the yoke corners. When trying the yoke on, the clusters should be an inch or 2 below where your underarm breaks. So now let's move on to round 10. Round 10 is slip stitch into the chain 2 space of the previous cluster V. So just slip stitch right on over there. I'm going to execute a beginning cluster V, and that was chain 3, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 3, 1, 2, yarn over in this, so this cluster V will hold the next cluster V. So the chain 2 space, of that cluster V holds the next cluster V. This is a really pretty treatment. 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, now chain 2. Now we're going to double crochet under this chain 2 space. And double crochet in each stitch across. Let me get across and get to the end, and then I'll show you what's next. After this beginning cluster V, I executed 1 double crochet in the chain 2 space
And in each double crochet across
the shoulder. Now I am back at this chain 2 space, so execute a double crochet in this chain 2 space, chain 2, and cluster V in the chain 2 space of this cluster V. Chain 2, all right, we've executed, that's pretty. So we executed a double crochet in that chain 2 space. We chained 2, executed a cluster V. Now, you guessed it, chain 2, and a double crochet in the chain 2 space. Oh, this is nice. A nice spot for the color change. All right, now execute a double crochet in each stitch across. And because we are executing a double crochet in each chain 2 space, we are increasing by 1 stitch on either side of the cluster. So let me get to the end of the cluster and I'll get you around this first round, and then I'll tell you. I've executed double crochets all across the front. I'm at this chain 2 space. I need to execute a double crochet here. Then chain 2, execute a cluster V, chain 2, double crochet in the chain 2 space, double crochet in each double crochet across the shoulder, double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 2, cluster V, chain 2, double crochet in the chain 2, double crochet across the back, remembering to double crochet right here in this last chain 2 and a chain 2 and a join. Let me get that finished all the way around, and then we'll talk about what is next. I am so in love with this cluster V and having that as a point on the yoke. It is so much fun. This is the shoulder, this is the front or the back, and we'll execute quite a few more rounds of this before we start to make the bodice. This is the yoke portion. So I've executed a double crochet in each stitch across and in each chain 2 space, and then a cluster V in the top of each cluster V. And as you build, these are so pretty when they are when they build out and help make the yoke. So let's join, but first we have to chain 2 and join with a slip stitch, and this is a simple repeat.
So rounds 10 through 14 are
slip stitch into the cluster V, make a beginning cluster V, chain 2, double crochet in the chain 2 space, double crochet in each, double crochet across. When you get to the chain 2 space right here, make a double crochet, chain 2, and a cluster V. And you continue that all the way around until you get back to this beginning cluster V. Join with a slip stitch in the top of that chain, in that chain 3, and then slip stitch and begin again. Since these clusters are considered the yoke corners, this is the front, and these clusters,
when you have completed round 14,
try this on, and make sure the front is in the front and the back is in the back, and these corners should drop and be right at the break of your underarm. If it's too short, add another round. Stitch count will not matter that much.
The bodice doesn't require an exact stitch count, so you have a lot of liberty on how long you make your yoke. Execute
as many rounds as you need so that these corners will be at the break of your armpit.
I'll meet you at the end of round 14.
So we have finished the yoke portion. Began the cluster V's at round 9. We continued on through round 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is where we should have ended for the small to medium. I went ahead and added one more cluster V round. You could add 2 more if you wanted. So let's join and continue on. We're going to be making the sleeve or the arm's eye. The arm's eye is where we will attach the yarn to make the sleeve. The arm's eye is what you put your arm through. It's the armhole. All right, so we join with a slip stitch to the top of that cluster, slip stitch into the chain 2 space, chain 3. Does not count as a stitch. You could chain 2 here if you'd like.
Double crochet in that chain 2 space.
Now, we're going to make the underarm chain. The underarm chain is a chain, and then we come across and join, and we skip all of the shoulder stitches. If you're making a small to medium, I recommend chaining 8, but I'm going to chain 10, as I might want to wear this myself. And I'm skipping all of these shoulder stitches, and I'm coming over to this next cluster V, and I'm going to join, and I will double crochet right in that chain 2 space of that cluster V. Double crochet. Now double crochet in the in this double crochet cluster. Double crochet in the chain 2 space, double crochet in the next stitch,
and in each stitch across until you get to the next cluster V.
I'll go off camera and finish that, and I'll meet you at the next cluster V. I've made it across to the next cluster V. I've executed a double crochet in this last chain 2 space. Now I need to execute a double crochet in this first double crochet cluster of the cluster V. Now double crochet in that chain 2 space of the cluster V. Now chain 10,
or 8 if you're making the small to medium.
skip all of the shoulder stitches, skip all of those shoulder stitches, and come across and double crochet in the chain 2 space of that next V, double crochet in this top of this double crochet cluster, double crochet in the chain 2 space, double crochet in the next double crochet, and in each double crochet across until we get to the next cluster V. I'll go off camera and I'll come back when I get to the next cluster V. So we are at the end of this round. We have a double crochet to execute in that chain 2 space and a double crochet to execute in the top of that cluster and join with a slip stitch in the top of this beginning double crochet. Now we're moving on to the bodice. This is exciting. It'll be moving fast from here on out. Some folks may not want to add sleeves to this portion. So once you finish the bodice, then you have a nice shell or a nice tunic to use. But I need to give you a size adjustment tip. If you're wanting to make a larger or smaller bodice, you can add increases or decreases to the bodice. The bodice will be from here on out. You could also add more chains to the underarm chain. You can also add increases or decreases in the hip or the stomach area if you so choose. The stitch count beyond this does not matter. It matters how it fits you. I like to have mine end a few inches below the widest part of my hips. I feel like that's most flattering. So let's move on to the bodice. Now the bodice is easy. It's chain 3 or chain 2, however you choose to do that. Some people chain 2. This does not count as a stitch. Double crochet in the joining stitch. Double crochet in each chain of the underarm chain. That's fairly easy. Let me get across. Let me speed up the camera and get across. Well, let me just show you how that works. All right, there's a double crochet in each chain across, and you can see this is the opening of the armhole or the arm's eye. Now, one double crochet in each stitch across the front, one double crochet in each chain of the second armhole chain, and then one double crochet across the back, and then join to the beginning double crochet, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. I am at the end of the second round of the bodice. This is the side of the bodice right under the arm. This is the armhole. And I have one more double crochet to execute right here. And then I will bypass that chain and join with a slip stitch in the top of the next double crochet. Now the rest of the bodice is very easy. Chain 3 and double crochet in the joining stitch and in each double crochet around, and occasionally add an increase at the underarm area. Now, there will need to be 4 increases on each side of the bodice. So do a couple of rows, add an increase, maybe 1 row, add an increase, and an increase is 2 stitches in the same stitch. So let me go ahead and make this first double crochet in the joining stitch and a double crochet in the next stitch. Now I want to make an increase, and an increase is just this simple. 2 stitches in 1 stitch. That's an increase. Now add 4 increases on each side randomly throughout the execution of the bodice, and then 2 across the front. You want them off to the side of each breast. You don't want them right in front of the breast. So I'm at round 17. I will execute the bodice through round 35. If I were making the extra small to small, I would end at round 32, but I want to make this a little longer. You could make this shorter if you wanted, but I'm going to go to round 35. So I'll meet you at the end of round 35, remembering to place those increases just as I stated, and it'll be an exciting journey. It'll take me a little while to get there, so I'll come back on camera. I'm not about to execute that many rounds. So at the end of round 35, I will come back to you. But if you are truly making the extra small to small and following the pattern on Christie'sOverTheMountainCrochet.com, then you will stop at round 32. And I'll meet you at the end of round 35 for me and 32 for you if you're making the extra small.
I have made the t-shirt the length that I would like for it to be. And as you can see, there are some color change issues right here. I don't like these type of color changes. This is going to be a casual shirt, and this will be toward the back, simply because my seam shows on the back. So as I flip it over, the color changes on the front are not as noticeable. If you are like me and you don't like these mid-round or color changes in the middle of a round, please don't hesitate to cut your yarn and have a join at the side so that those color changes are not noticeable. Now, we are at the end here of the double crochet rounds. Now, I made this one just a little bit longer. You can make your Overbrook cotton tee as long as you want. Now let's move on to the ribbon.
At the last double crochet of the last round, I joined to the top of that first double crochet. Now let's start the ribbing rounds. Chain 1 and front post half double crochet around that first stitch. Let me show you how to do that again. A front post half double crochet is very easy. It's yarn over, insert hook in the front to go around the back of that post, and then back out the front, yarn over, draw the yarn through. You have 3 loops on the hook, and a half double crochet is yarn over, pull through all 3. So 2 front post half double crochets. Now we're going to execute a back post half double crochet. So that is yarn over, go in from the back to go around this post, through to the back, yarn over, pull through to the back, and you have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So the repeat is yarn over, front post, half double crochet, yarn over, front post, half double crochet, yarn over, back post, half double crochet. So this ribbing is 2 front posts, 1 back post, 2 front post, 1 back post. We'll execute that all the way around. We're going to want to end with 1 back post half double crochet to join right here.
Or we can let this chain 1 drop to the back as a mock back post half double crochet.
There really isn't a wrong way to get the ribbing in here, but the ribbing is 2 front post, 1 back post, 2 front post, 1 back post. I'll execute that all the way around and I'll meet you at the join.
I am at the end of the ribbing rounds. I am just about finished. Let me make these
Next few stitches. I will say this yarn creates a really loose fabric. Okay, so we have 3 stitches left. I'm going to do a back post and 2 front posts and then join and let this area recede. Back post, 2 front posts, and join with a slip stitch in that chain 1. Now if I had had the correct stitch count and ended with a back post right here, I would have joined to the top of that half double crochet. So you can just finagle and work with your stitch count. It doesn't have to be exact. This stitch count on this bodice does not have to be an exact stitch count. You just want it to fit your body. All right, so now I'm going to chain 1, and this is going to recede and become a back post half double crochet. Now it's front post half double crochet, another front post half double crochet, and a back post half double crochet. Front post half double crochet. Well, and a back post. Front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around for 2 rounds. I'll meet you at the end of the 3rd round of ribbing and show you the join. I'm at the end of the 3rd round of ribbing, so to make 1 more front post half double crochet and join with a slip stitch in that chain 1 and end off. There we go. Doesn't this ribbing look nice? I think this is a very nice ribbing. You could add a few more rounds if you'd like. Let's move on to the sleeve. Now it is time to move on to executing the sleeve, and we will attach the yarn at the center of the underarm, but I need to doctor the yarn, so it would be wrong to add this color at this point. So I am going to pull my yarn out and cut it until I get to this yarn color. I want to continue in this yarn color, let the sleeve gradate out, and then the next color would be this, and then the next color would be that, and that will be pleasing to the eye. Let me pull the yarn out, I'll pull the yarn out of the cake until I get to this color. Okay, so I have pulled my yarn color out so that I am ready to join right here in the underarm center. So I will make a slip knot and place that place the slip knot on my hook. Then I'm going to hold onto this tail very tightly. I'm going to have my hook in working fashion, hold onto the tail very tightly, then yarn over, insert my hook into the area where I want to make a double crochet, and then I have 3 loops on the hook, just as if I were making a double crochet, and then I'm just going to proceed to double crochet, yarn over twice. So that was a standing double crochet. Now I'm going to double crochet around the arm's eye, placing a double crochet in each of these stitches across. Let me show you what it looks like when we get to the break, or where the double crochet clusters are. You really can't go wrong with how many stitches are in the arm's eye. You just want to think about how an arm's eye or an armhole looks. It is rounded. So I'm getting to the break right here. So I'll place 1 more double crochet right here. Then I'll place a double crochet in that stitch. I'm not going to go under. I don't want to make a hole. So I'm going to place a double crochet in that stitch in the side of that post. Now I'm going to place a double crochet right here in that cluster, and I'm trying to pull these stitches together. I don't want huge gaps here. Now I will execute a double crochet in that chain right there, and then execute a double crochet in each of these stitches around, and just as before, when I get to the other side where this break is, I'll execute the same amount of stitches, or just do my best to make it look rounded. As you can see, that is rounded. Okay, we'll do that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've crocheted all the way around the arm's eye, and you see the little curve right here. And I have 2 more stitches to execute. and then we can join. This is the first round. Now I need to join with a slip stitch in the top of that first double crochet, and we'll chain 2, and this chain 2 is going to count as a double crochet. And now we need to decrease, and a decrease is yarn over and act as if you're executing a double crochet, but you don't work off that second loop. Then yarn over, go into the next stitch, work off 2 or pull through 2. Now pull through all 3, and that's the double crochet decrease. And then we execute a double crochet, and then we execute a double crochet in each stitch around, and I will meet you at this join. At the end of the second round of the sleeve, I have a decrease at the beginning, and I'm going to join, because this chain 2 does count as a stitch, counts as a double crochet. I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 2. All right, so now I'm going to chain 2, and I need to decrease again, but I'm not going to decrease until I am on the end, at the end of round 3. So round 3 will start as chain 2 as a double crochet in this stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and double crochet in each stitch around. And remember, I will be decreasing on this side of the join. So round 3 will be a decrease on this side of the join. I'll meet you at the end of the third round. I want to execute a decrease. So I think I'll just go ahead and place it in these 2 stitches. So double crochet 2 together. I have 3 on the hook. I have 2 double crochets that I've completed with 1 loop to pull through, and then I yarned over, and then I executed a yarn over and pulled through all 3. Now execute a double crochet in this last stitch, and then slip stitch in that chain 2.
Chain 2.
Now we will execute a decrease on this side of the join. So we do these steps. I will make 8 rounds. If you're making an extra small to small, make 6 rounds of sleeves. So I will continue in this manner all the way around, placing a decrease on either side of the join. If the decrease is on this side of the join for this round, then the next round, the decrease will be on the other side of the join. So you alternately place those decreases on either side of the join for as long as you want your sleeve. Now you will be executing 2 rounds of ribbing at the end of the sleeve, so keep that in mind. You can make this sleeve a little shorter, but I do recommend 6 to 8 rounds for the small through the large size. I'm at the last round of the sleeve. You can see the sleeve started right here, and I have executed 7 rounds. That's how many I want to have. I'm not going to execute the decrease right here because we will be stepping into the ribbing rounds. And the ribbing rounds, and I'm going to join in the second chain of that beginning chain 2. So the ribbing round is chain 1, front post, half double crochet, twice, front post, half double crochet, and then back post, half double crochet, front post, half double crochet, twice. So there's the second front post, half double crochet, and then a back post, half double crochet. Execute that all the way around the sleeve, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm at the end of the first ribbing round. I need to execute a back post. Now 2 front posts. And that leaves this as the back post. And I'll join with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 1, and I'll execute a chain 1 and then 1 more round of ribbing. And the ribbing is, again, just repeat that around, 2 back post half double crochets, 1, 2 front post half double crochets, 1 back post half double crochet. All right, we execute that all the way around for 1 more round, and I'll meet you at the end of this last round of ribbing. I have finished my first sleeve. So I'm finishing up these 2 front post half double crochets, joining with a slip stitch, and I will end off, and I have finished my first sleeve. And doesn't this look nice for a loose fitting sleeve? You could make this a long sleeve if you chose. I will make a tutorial for the long sleeve at a later date, but right now this is the short sleeve. We're coming into spring.
You don't have to add the sleeves to this design. You can wear it as a tunic or a shell, just as Deb is wearing. She made hers in sea glass Caron Cotton Cakes. I do like the sleeves, but they're not necessary. I hope you enjoyed this design. It was so good to have you on my side of the mountain. And I do want to give Deb a shout out for giving me such great pictures and being a wonderful tester. Thank you, Deb.